guys can get started.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay, great. Excellent. So we're going to go ahead and record this so everyone will have access to the recording at the end of the class. Give Michael's a couple days to post it, but you will have access to it. So if you get lost or you want to go back and review or share it with friends, I think you can do that. It's because it'll be on the website, so it'll be there. I am so happy to be here and very excited that you all are taking time out of your Monday to take this tutorial class with us. We really hope that going through the design space will give you a better understanding of how to use design space with the library of images that are available to you and adding images, all kinds of fun things that you can do through design space. So the class flow will begin with slides to give you an overview of design space and allow me to better highlight the different areas of design space as we go through. Then we'll transition into a live design space and actually walking through how to bring in an image, how to size it, and then how to send it to your Cricut machine so that you can cut it and craft with me. So hopefully everybody has, I see mine over here. This is a blank, and a blank is just a blank canvas, whether it's a Tumbler or a journal or your phone case or something on the wall. That's what we call a blank. So hopefully everyone has a blank handy and you can get crafting with us. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen and I will start with our slides and start walking through. Okay. So we're going to start with the beginning. Okay. So I think, are we showing it properly? I just want to double check, Joy. Everybody can see it? Okay. So let's talk about the different types of machines that are available through Cricut. You may have already picked a machine, but how do you determine which machine is right for you? And there's 3 different machines to look at. The first one, let's look at the Cricut Joy. This is the newest machine in the family. It's perfect for quick, everyday fun projects. You connect with Bluetooth, so you can take it like anywhere. So if you're working on organizing a closet, you can take the Cricut Joy with you to the closet. If you're going to a girlfriend's house, you can take the Cricut Joy with you. It just goes everywhere. Cricut Joy works with the smart vinyl materials, and those are materials that don't require a mat. There are 50 different types of materials that the Cricut Joy will cut. So you have a good selection of materials that you can use with it, take it lots of places. It also has a very unique mat, the card mat. And this allows you, if you're a card maker, to put your folded cards on a mat and cut a design into the front of the card. Cricut Joy has a single tool holder. So right here, this is the tool holder, and it's a single tool holder that you can use a blade to cut with, the fine point blade to cut with, or you can use a pen to write with. So this works with like the writable smart vinyl and the writable pen for the vinyl, for example, is one technique you can use. Cricut Joy is unique in that it has a 5.5-inch width entry point, whereas when you go to the larger models, like the Cricut Explorer Air 2, this has a 12-inch width. It's perfect for a wide range of hobbies and easy enough for anyone to master. The Explorer Air connects with a USB and Bluetooth, so it's great for on-the-go crafting, or you can set up into a permanent craft space if you have room. It's great to use with mobile devices or a desktop or laptop. The Explorer Air offers 4 capabilities. You can cut, you can write, you can score, and you can use the foil tool to foil on designs, which is really fun. Explorer Air also adds the print then cut capability. Your maximum cutting area is 11.5 inches wide and 24 inches long. So there's actually a mat that's 24 inches long. Okay, and then the final version is the Cricut Maker. This is a pro level DIY performance and versatility with the Maker. You can make with over 300 different materials. The Cricut Maker, the difference between the Cricut Maker that makes what makes the Cricut Maker different is the amount of pressure it applies to your materials. So the Cricut Maker puts more pressure on your materials so you can cut thicker types of materials. It also offers 12 different cutting capabilities. You can do the writing, the cutting, the scoring, and the foil. You can also use the perforation blade and etching blade, and there are other pro level effects you can get with the Cricut Maker. It has the double tool holder, so you can both write and cut at the same time, or score and cut. Cricut Maker also offers the print then cut capability. And it works with fabric. It works with, so many different materials like balsa wood, all different kinds of material that you can cut with. So you just have a richer choice of materials as you upgrade your machines from the Cricut Joy to the Cricut Maker. Learn.cricut.com is a great resource to learn more of what each machine can do. So if you know, I want to make quilt blocks with it, I want to cut out quilt blocks, and you can go to learn.cricut.com to learn more about cutting and what each machine does. But the basic the basic thing you need to understand, no matter what machine you have, is the design space. And design space is basically your brain communicating ideas to the machine. So design space can work with a desktop, a laptop, and your mobile devices. You can work with Android and iOS, Apple type devices. You download an app and it sits on your device. So whichever device you're working with, you can have it shares ideas across the different platforms. So what I mean by that is if you're in your living room and you decide you want to start designing on your iPad and your machine is connected to your desktop, your ideas or what you've created, you can save them up to the cloud, go to your desktop, and you can cut from your desktop. So it works across multiple devices. And the way you do that is by having a Cricut ID. So this is the window. If you haven't already signed up for your Cricut ID, you need to have a Cricut ID, and you only need one ID to work across multiple platforms. So I can use the same Cricut ID on my iPad, as my phone, as my desktop, or a laptop. And all that information is shared across all those different platforms. Using Design Space also gives you access to Cricut Access. When you purchase a machine, you get a 30-day free trial with lots of exclusive perks. So there's free designs that you can access, 500 different fonts you can use, thousands of projects, and over 100,000 images that you have access to with Cricut Access. All right, so let's dive into the homepage of Design Space. When you've added Design Space to your desktop, your laptop, whatever device you're using, it will always bring you to the home screen. So understanding how to navigate the home screen is important. The top gray bar here that I have highlighted in red, this is your stagnant banner. So no matter what page you're on in Design Space, this will always be at the top. So whether you're in the canvas or the prepare screen, your banner will always stay here. And what this allows you to do is access your profile, where you can set up a new machine, you can access settings, you can get to Cricut Access through here. Those are mostly the main things I do in that little pancake profile. Your home screen, this is the home screen, and then it will take you to your canvas screen, or your you can switch back and forth. So if you're in Canvas and you want to go back to home because you saw a project you wanted to do, you can go to your profile and switch back and forth in there. Then the next part down, this will be a moving banner. This is always updating and giving you new ideas of things you can create, new products that are coming out. Just it's an inspirational banner at the top there. So it'll always change up for you. The next spot down are your projects. This is where you can find any project that you've worked on and you've saved. They'll all show up here and you can scroll across and pull up a project. So if you've made a tumbler, let's say like after class today, you'll save your project and a friend thinks your tumbler is adorable and wants one just like it, you can pop back into my projects and find your tumbler and create it. You can also share your creations with the Cricut community. So if your friend has a Cricut machine, she can go, you can share your project with her and then she can make the same one herself. Next down in the home screen is the video playlist. These are a great spot to learn about new products, new techniques, or just to freshen up on things that you're working on. So for example, a lot of people, as you get started, you don't necessarily know what is weeding. So this, you can actually watch a video on weeding. And I'll just give you guys the tip. Weeding is removing excess vinyl that isn't part of your design. So think of it like you're weeding a garden, you're weeding out the excess vinyl or heat transfer, if you're doing heat transfer vinyl or paper, the parts that aren't part of your design. Then below that, you have more inspiration. And this will change from day to day, week to week. Right now, or when I took this screenshot, the next layer down was inspiration from the community. And these are just more projects you have access to that you can create that people in the community have created, in the Cricut community. And they've just been spotlighted by Cricut. And that's everything. And then as you keep scrolling down, like over here, if you were to keep scrolling down, you would get more ideas and more inspiration. So the Cricut mug press is something that's new. And so if you wanted to kind of check that out, you could, or maybe there'll be some Easter projects or spring projects or gardening projects, anything to get you inspired and creating. When you're ready to start creating, from your home screen, you will click this button up at the top. It says New Project. Also along the top, you can access your projects. It's kind of hidden by my red arrow there, but you can access your projects and you can indicate which machine you're using. So let's go in and create a new project using the Design Space canvas. If you're on an iPad, this is what your canvas will look like. Everything I talk about is along the bottom, and I'll try and point it out for you as I go. If I forget, just pop in chat that, where do I find the edit button? And we can help point that out to you. So for example, when I talk about the edit features, that icon is on the bottom here. When we talk about layers and the layers panel, that icon is on the bottom here. When we talk about actions, that icon is on the bottom here. And then when I talk about inserting images or text or shapes, those are on the left-hand side. So if you're on an iPad, look down below and you'll find everything you need as we go along. If you're on a desktop, this is what your Design Space canvas will look like. And I'm working on a desktop, so everything you see from me will be done on a desktop, but you can do it again across multiple platforms. So my gray header bar is still up here. I can go back to my home screen if I want to by clicking on my pancake bars here. I know I'm on my canvas, tells me. I've saved this project, so what project I'm working on would be named here, or it would just say new project. I can access my projects, save, indicate which machine I'm using, and when I'm ready, I go to the Make It button. When you've added an image or a shape or text, your edit icons will light up. So underneath your gray bar, across the top are the edit icons. And this is where you determine what type of cutting you're doing. You'll determine if you want to do some editing. You would do editing right here. Your offset button is here. You can change your size across the top. You can rotate, and you can identify your position with the edit buttons there. Okay. And when we go live, we'll talk a little bit more about those too. Now, over to the right, as we continue our tour of Design Space Canvas, on the right are the layers panels. So when we talk about layer panels, think about that 7-layer dip we make that starts off with the beans and ends up with your cheese. Each layer that you add to your canvas is like a layer on a cake or a layer on your 7-layer dip. The top layer will be at the top of the layers panel. So my circle is on top of the square. It's the top layer. And your layers, as you stack layers, they go to the top automatically. And then you can rearrange. You can drag and drag them using just left clicking on them and dragging them down. At the bottom of the layers panel, let me go back. At the bottom of the layers panel here are the actions. And these are things that you can do to layers. Sometimes you need to have more than one layer selected to do the actions, and sometimes the actions work on a single layer. So let's take a closer look at those. The slice action pulls two images apart and cuts pieces in and out of them. So think of it like taking a slice of pizza out of a pizza pie. That's slice. Weld puts two images together and merges two to become one image. Attach connects images with their placement on the canvas. So if you want to attach images to where they are on the canvas, you would select attach. Flattens the images into a single image. So we use flatten when we do print then cut. And contour, you can remove cut lines out of a single image with contour. And we don't go over these a lot in our class today. We go over these a lot in the 200 level class. So today we'll be working more with manipulating a single image, but in the 200 level class on next Monday, we go over all of these items here. Okay. Then as we continue our navigation around the screen, on your bottom left down here is your zoom button. So on an iPad, you would just zoom in and out, but on your desktop or laptop, you need to increase your size or decrease your size. So when you increase your size, you can zoom into your image if you want to get a bigger view of your image. And then as you decrease the size, it gives you more of an overview of different images on your canvas. And then the last but not least is the left side of your canvas, where you have icons that help you put things on your canvas. So if you want to add text, this is where you would add text. Or if you want to add a shape, this is where you would add the shape. If you want to get to the images library, this is where you click on the images to access the images library. And then you can also get to projects from here too. So when you're ready to add an image to your canvas, this is really the only place on the design space that you can access the images. You would just click on this images icon here to get to the library of images. When you click on it, it takes you to a screen that shows you all of the, probably like the featured images for the week. And then when you click all images, it brings you to this screen here. Now, what this screen does is it sort of helps you to start narrowing down what type of image you're looking for. You can do the highlighted categories, see what's featured this week, what's recently been added, what's new. You can browse by themes. So if you know you're doing something for a holiday or for a birthday or for children, you can just go in and start looking for a theme, or you can search in some keywords. So you can type in your keywords and start looking for something there. So for example, on this one, maybe I want to find a little heart to put on a mug that says love you. So I type in love you heart in the search button, in the search panel, and I have all these choices pop up for me of different images that have to do with love you and heart. To filter those down, you'll go over to your left side here and start filtering all those images down to find just the perfect image. So when you start to filter your images down, right over here, when you start working in Canvas, you kind of have an idea of what your end project's going to be. So for me, I was working on a Tumbler and I wanted to say love you on the Tumbler. So I knew I was working with something that I only wanted to cut the image out. I didn't want to draw the image or print and then cut, or cut and draw. So I knew that I would pick cut only. Now the difference between draw only and print then cut, when you draw, you actually use that second holder on your machine, whether it's a Maker or Explore Air. You use that second holder and you insert your Cricut pen into that holder, and it actually draws on the paper for you. If you are doing a print then cut, you actually send the image to your physical printer. You print it out and then you bring it back and then you cut it. So that's the difference between drawing with your Cricut and print then cut with your Cricut. The next filter you could select would be something if you're looking for a simple image, if you're looking for an image with a couple layers or a lot of layers. So I knew I just wanted to do something real simple with vinyl. So I selected a simple image. I knew I was only doing a single layer, and I knew I would be working with vinyl. So I could select all those different filters and reduce the number of images that popped up. Now, when you've selected an image, it will have this green banding box around it. As you can see, this one does here. And this A here lets you know if you have Cricut Access, this image, there's no fee for it. You have access to use that image. When I use this image, it was in the free this week category. So it was free to anybody to use. If you have Cricut Access, you have access to this image and you can use it. Now, also when you've selected your image, you can look down here at the eye in the circle, and that will pop up. It'll change it from an image to information. And it'll tell you the name of your image, the image number, and what other images might be included with this image. So images that go together. So if you click View Image Sets, it takes you to a set of images. So here's 33 images that go with the Love You heart. And this image set is called Stay Golden. So I'm assuming this would be a great for anniversary. The pineapples and the palm trees kind of gives me a Hawaiian feel to it. So you can find other images that coordinate with the initial image that caught your eye in case you want to, create a whole scene with them or something. That's how you do that. And then when you're ready to go back to your image, you can either find your image and click on it, or you can click on back to image, and that will take you back to your image like this. Now, once you've selected your image, let's say this is the image you want, you selected it, it's got the green banding box around it. It shows up in your tray down here on the bottom right where my big red arrow is. If you have multiple images in here and you really only want one, when you hover over the image, a red X shows up and you just say, okay, I don't want that image. Or, yep, this is the image I want and I'm ready to insert the image into my canvas. So you insert image. Now your image pops up into your canvas. Once your image is on your canvas, you have 4 quick edit buttons on your image at each corner. These edit buttons are also available in your edit bar up here at the top. Okay, the quick edits that you have are the X, nope, didn't want that image, delete it off of my canvas, let's get rid of it. You would click that red X. If you wanted to rotate the image, you would click the backward C and you could rotate the image left or right, counterclockwise, completely turn it in a circle if you wanted to. Then down here, the double-sided arrow icon lets you stretch your image proportionately. Every image you bring into your canvas, your proportion starts off locked. So what that means is if I were to grab this corner and pull this image out, it would stretch proportionately with the height and the width. If I didn't want that to happen, let's say I just wanted to make this wider or longer, then you would click on the lock icon, unlock it, and then come back to your double arrow icon and stretch your love you heart either way. Stretch it wider, stretch it taller, completely take it out of proportion. All right. So before I go on, Joy, is there any questions that we have?
Lindsay and I are working hard over here. You guys have lots and lots of really good questions. I hope that we're getting all of your answers out. I don't think we have anything specific to what your project is.
Okay.
Mostly about all the exciting things you can do with Cricut.
I love it. I love it. Okay, let's keep going then. I will go back and share my screen. And there's my design space. Okay. Here we go. All right, so we're back here on our canvas. And one thing I didn't really touch on too much, again, I'm on a desktop. So if you're on an iPad or some other mobile device, don't forget to look at the bottom for your icons that I talk about. So once you have your blank canvas, we are going to add an image. For our project today, we're going into the image library. If you wanted to add your own images to your canvas, you would upload right here on this upload icon, and you would upload your image from right here. And then you can do everything you want. You can cut, you can print and cut, you can draw from your own uploaded images. But today for our project, we're going to go into the image library. And, oh, I don't know what I have. I must have had some search on there. All right. So let's go ahead and search for, I would like to find something with blooms. Spring is in the air. That's odd. I'm going to stop sharing. And sometimes this happens, guys, where maybe your software isn't doing what you expect it to be doing. So I usually will shut out of my software and then restart it and come back into it.
Sometimes Cricut does some overnight. We'll do some new updates to software, and if you have your computer on, and then an update was made, and you go to do something, it might glitch. So the best thing always to do is exactly what Kesley is doing. Shut it down, start it up again.
Actually, it was doing an upload.
It did an upload, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's so funny. So honestly, like that is, it's good that it happens. So you guys know that, it happens to all of us and how to fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and re-sign back in, and then I'll share my screen again.
And Kesley, while you're doing that, we have a little bit of chatter about SVG files.
Okay.
And I think the main question is, can I put an SVG file into Design Space? Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes. Yep. SVG files are, it's an ending of the file. So it's the type of file that is a cut file. And you can purchase those, and then you can upload them into Design Space. Definitely take the 201 class. We've put in the link for the next 201 classes where you'll see a little bit more of that. There was also some questions about printing and downloading images and being able to print those. We'll answer those questions in the 201 class as well. So, so I think that those were the primary questions that we were getting.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can, and I can show them a little bit if we have time at the end, run through something like that. All right, so let's go ahead and I will share my screen now that I'm back in my happy place here. All right, here we go. So now I'm back. This is my home screen. I'm ready to make a new project. So I just go up here to new project and my canvas opens up. I click over to images and let's see what, there we go. Now we're happier. All these cute images pop up. So these must be like new images or popular images pop up right here. I can go to the category of all images and search for an image here. So like I said, I think I'm looking for something with like blooms, something summery or springy, because we're kind of getting into the spring designs. So like bloom and be happy, that's a cute one. Be always blooming, bloom with grace, all kinds of let your dreams bloom, all kinds of cute ones. But let's go back and see if we go to all images and let's see free this week. So there's lots of free images right now. And let's type in bloom and see if we have anything here. Okay, so here's three cute ones. Let your dreams bloom, live life in full bloom, and another let your blooms dream with 2 colors and some little star diamonds on there. So if you go into let your dreams bloom, and let's just check out the information on these and see what might else be in the image sets. So now there are 36 other images that coordinate with this image. So see how I kind of found some other images that coordinate with my blooms. It's time for gardening. How fun is that? Good morning, sunshine. So lots of fun images that you can choose. I'm going to work with let your dreams bloom. And it's down here in my bottom queue. I call that my queue. And so then you just insert the image. So if you're crafting along with me, go ahead and grab that image and bring it in. Okay. And then also grab your container that you'll be using, your tumbler. So I have my Artminds tumbler. I got this at Michael's. And you want to use your ruler and determine how big you want your image to be. So I sort of like it. I kind of think of it, if I'm holding my tumbler, I want my image to fit between my thumb and forefinger as my fingers go around the tumbler. So if I measure that, that is about 4 inches. And then you can make it as tall as you want to make it on your image, whatever your image you're working with. Okay. So once you have your measurements, I would like mine to be 4 inches wide, and I'll keep the proportion locked. So I'll change my image size. Now I can adjust it with the corner here with the double arrows and try and get it squeezed in just right and go back and forth. Or I can go up to the edit bar and change the width of my image to 4 inches wide. And then that will also change the height of my image to like just about 3 inches high. So my image size will be 4 inches by 3 inches. Okay. Now, while you're in working with some edit things, I'm just going to point out a few things. If you've gotten to this point and you've gotten your image sized right, then that's all you need to do to craft our project today. But I do just want to walk you through a few things. Up in the edit bar. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Before you do that again, can you tell people can you show them the image one more time?
How to find it?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Folks who missed where to find the image.
Sure. So you just go, okay. So sorry, I jumped right there. Okay. So on your canvas, if you're on your canvas, click the images icon, and you want to click that icon and all your images pull up. The whole category of images pull up, and everybody's number is different. It's just based on, I've been a long time Cricut user, so I have images that I've added to my Cricut that I've created on my own using Design Space. So my images might be more or less than yours. So don't worry about that number. If you want to do a search in all images, you can search here and say, like, let's let your dreams bloom. So just go ahead, let your dreams bloom. Type that in. And there, mine popped up the second one in. So you would just pick that one, and it's down in your tray down here to go on your canvas. And then you just say insert images. And there it is right there. And then measure what you're putting it on. So like I'm putting it on a tumbler and I wanted it to be 4 inches wide. So I go up to my edit bar and I change my width to 4 inches. And there we go. But I don't really need 2 on my canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and delete one of them. So I just have one I'm working with. Now I know when I'm working with an image because I've clicked on it and the bounding box shows up with my icons here. It also highlights it in my, it highlights it over here in my layers panel. So it's a little bit darker gray. Like if I click off of it, it's the same color as the background. When I click on it, it's a little bit darker color. So you have it there. Now, if you wanted to, and there's really no reason you would want to, but I just want to show you this because people ask about it. This box here is your colors. So you can change the color of your image just using the box in the operations section here. You can just change your color right here. And you can do advanced change of colors by, dragging your bar across or even putting in the RGB color down here. Today I'll be using a green sparkly, a shimmer green to cut mine out with. Now, also along the top, you do have the offset eye feature. What the offset does is it puts an outline around your image. So it automatically comes in at 0.25 and that puts an outline around your images. So something to play around with for another day. You could do something like that with it. Okay. And then you can also flip in the edit bar. You can resize it, you can rotate it, and you can change your position on your canvas if you want right here. Okay, now if you want to save your project, you go up to your gray bar at the top and you would select save. And then you would type in what this project is. So you might call it Bloom Tumbler or whatever makes sense to you. And then you would save that project and that would show up in your My Project section. Or if you just were designing your heart out and then something pulled you away from your canvas before you finish, you could save your project and then always come back to it later. You can share it, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I have mine sized. I'm ready to go ahead and make it. And I'm ready to make it. So I'm going to the top panel here and I click on the Make It button. And this takes me into the Prepare screen where where it shows me where it's going to cut on my mat. You can indicate how many copies you want to make of this. So if you want to cut this out 10 times, you could say you want to make 10 projects, and you can change your material size here. And this is also where you can mirror here. If you were doing it on a t-shirt with heat transfer vinyl, you'd want to mirror there. Okay, so that's how we do that. And then when you're ready to send it to your machine, you go ahead and hit the continue button. And if my machine's on, yep, I'm on, okay. Looks like I'm crooked again. Okay. So then your machine pops up. Now I do have it connected to the Explore Air, but I have my dial set on custom. If I if I didn't, I could just turn it to vinyl. I'm using the shimmer vinyl. So I would turn it between vinyl and I would have it on vinyl and iron on. If you're just using, a glossy vinyl, you could have it right on vinyl. If you're using a maker, you would browse your materials and we could type in vinyl and the shimmer vinyl should pop up right here. So this is the shimmer vinyl here. I think that's what I'm using. Yeah, it's called Premium Vinyl Shimmer. I just want to make sure. So you could select your vinyl here. You could adjust the pressure. If you want to have more pressure or less pressure, you could adjust your pressure here. And then it tells you which tools to load. And then once you're ready, you go over, you say, then you physically go to your machine. So let me, Joy, are there any other questions before I send it to my machine that I can answer?
I am, let's see. There's a lot of questions about offset on the iPad.
Okay.
And I believe that offset is not yet available on the iPad, where it's in beta testing on the desktop. So if you don't see it there, that is why you're not missing any. Your iPad isn't missing something. It's just not quite there yet.
That's correct.
And then there's some questions. People have questions about pressure and cutting through mats. So both Lindsay and I have been explaining that it's important to get the pressure right and to choose the right materials. So when you get ready to go on the machine, just give that a point out, please.
Yes, and I've worked with this shimmer vinyl, and I like to give it a little extra pressure because it weeds easier for me that way. So sometimes I'll do, if I'm using a new material, I'll cut like a little circle to see how it cuts, if I want to put a little bit more pressure on it or not.
Yeah, good answer. And if you can show them where that default pressure point is, that would be awesome.
Okay.
And then also the dial on top of the air too. You know the drill.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so let me go. If we can go to my overhead now. Yep, there we go. Sorry, and my camera keeps flipping on me, so I think I got it set up right. Okay, so I just saw one question. Somebody was asking about how to tell the difference between the blades. There actually is a little number. Gotta remember where it is on the blades. It tells you which one you're working with. I can't remember. It does have a number on it.
Kesley, that's on the rotary, the scoring blades, the single scoring blade and the double scoring blade for the maker.
Right. Yeah. On the makers, like I think this is the engraving one, and there's a number 41 right on the blade. So that's how you know.
Numbered all those too.
Yeah. So it's on there. Okay. So real quick, just to go over the machine, you have your A and your B. The B holds your blade. The A you could put, like if you were making a card and you were folding, that would go in the A slot, or your pen, if you're drawing, that would go in the A slot there. So here's my dial here. And since I'm using this shimmer, I love this stuff, this shimmer vinyl. So I've cut with it before, and I know that for me, it needs a little bit more pressure. So I would put my dial towards between the vinyl and the iron-on. If I were using like the glossy vinyl, I would have my cut blade set just to vinyl and not worry about adding any more pressure or anything like that. So what you're going to do is take out your vinyl, and we're going to cut it down. Now you can, if you have like extra pieces of vinyl that you're working with, like a little scrap or something like that, you can use that and position it on your mat. I did see a question about where to position it, or does it always have to be in the upper left corner? So the Design Space automatically positions your image to that top left corner. You can move it around. So like, let's say if you had a piece of, vinyl that had like a chunk cut out of here and you just wanted to cut it out here and you didn't want to trim it down, you could just position that, and then on the prepare screen, you would move your image over to your cutting mat where you wanted it to cut. Okay, so my shimmer vinyl, the great thing I love about Cricut, they make it so easy for us because you have the 1/2-inch cubes on the back, so you don't have to use your paper trimmer. I personally love to use my paper trimmer because I like the straight lines of it. But you can get straight lines just by cutting up on your paper, on your vinyl, using your paper trimmer or your scissors. Okay, so my image, if you remember, was 4 by 3, and I got those measurements by measuring my cup and how big I wanted my space to be. So it's really up to you how you like your sizing to be. If you're doing something, if you want it just to be like a little small image on something, you may just do something like this where it's a little bit smaller. Or maybe you're doing a whole bunch of different images. You want to kind of fill it up with a hydro flask style. Okay, so I've got my shimmer vinyl trimmed down to the right size. I'm going to put it on my mat based on where my image was on the prepare screen. So and I cut it a little bit bigger to give myself a little bit of grace room here. Sometimes I don't always measure perfectly. Not very good Bob the Builder. Okay, so when you're ready, you slide your cutting mat into your machine. There's 2 little shelves that you want to tuck your machine underneath, and you give it some light pressure against the wheels. It's not like a jamming thing. You don't have to hold it. I've sent the image over in Design Space to my machine. My load button is flashing. So I'm going to load my mat in, and then when it's ready, my Cricut button will flash telling me it's ready to cut. C for cut. And then you just do that. And while that's cutting, then I would trim up my transfer tape. Now, the transfer tape, there's 2 different, I don't have like another transfer tape. There's 2 different types of transfer tape. You have the regular transfer tape, which has like a gray color to it. And this is what I would use if I were doing a premium vinyl. I would just use the regular transfer tape. Since the shimmer has a bit of a texture on the surface, you need something that'll grab it a little bit stronger. So I use the strong grip transfer tape. And sometimes if you're working on a project and you're like, the vinyl stuck to my transfer tape, it won't come off no matter what I do, chances are you've maybe grabbed the strong grip transfer tape and it's not releasing it. Or if you're not able to get like your shimmer vinyl to stick to your transfer tape, you may just be using plain transfer tape and it's not sticking. So, and it's printed on the transfer tape, so you've got it there. Strong grip is the purple. Okay, now while that's cutting out too, you can take your mug or your tumbler, and I like to give it a little clean off. I'll use a baby wipe to clean it off with, and I'll just kind of wipe it down a little bit, get any fingerprints off that I might have left on there, like that. And also, when I'm done cutting, and I take my paper off the mat, I will put that plastic sleeve back on so I don't get a lot of dust on my mat. You can, if you need to, gently remove extra, if you get any pieces of paper or anything like that stuck on here, you can gently remove that with your finger. And then you can also wash your mat with water and a stiff brush. Well, is how you can keep your mat fresh and sticky. And it's surprising, you don't expect it to still be sticky after you use water on it, but it is. Okay, so when you're ready to remove your vinyl from your mat, you want to roll your mat off of your vinyl. So you just get a little corner of it, hold it down, and roll the mat off of your vinyl. And you want to do this for any type of material that you're taking off. You always want to roll the mat off of it. And the reason you do that is the mat is super flexible, and that way your vinyl won't roll or paper, especially with paper. Now comes the fun part of weeding. I'll be using a weeding tool, sort of looks like a dentist pick. It's got a really sharp point here, and it helps pull up your vinyl, to remove the vinyl from your design. And here we go. We just pull this off. It comes off really easily. So we'll just start pulling that off here. And you can just use your weeding tool to kind of hold parts down if you need to. It's kind of sticking on you. And keep rotating around. I usually have a lint roller I keep next to me so that I can put my vinyl pieces on so it doesn't go rolling around my table or get stuck somewhere. Okay, so now this is where your little tool comes in handy. You can start weeding, and you just pick out the pieces that you don't want to keep in your design. So I'm just going to pull these all out like this. So you just poke it in and pull it out, and it comes right off for you. Sometimes if you have a very intricate design, I have seen people use painter's tape to pull out the weeding pieces. I think especially like if you're doing regular vinyl, that will help. If you have a hard time seeing where your cut lines were, you can hold your cutout to the window and you'll see where your cut lines are. Or if you have a bright pad, you can just use that and cut and put it on that. Okay, so there's all my images. All my pieces are pulled out, and I've done my weeding. Then I will set up my tumbler to put it on. Go this way. A little lint there. Okay, so we'll set up our tumbler, and we'll use. Didn't I have a piece of? I lost my transfer tape. Here we go. Here's my transfer tape. Okay. Before I do this, I got ahead of myself there. Okay, so I know that I have a very nice straight line here and a straight line here. And I'm going to put my vinyl on top of my transfer tape on top of this and pull it off. So the way I'm going to do that is to give myself a hinge. I take my transfer tape on my self-healing mat and I line one of the lines up of the transfer tape with one of the lines on the self-healing mat. And I do that because I want my image to go on straight. And using the lines on your transfer tape helps to do that. Back here. So I'm going to put my image, I'm going to line my image right up to this spot here on my self-healing mat, right there. And I'll put my transfer tape down on top of that. And I just work it down. I work my hand across the transfer tape and get that to set down. And then I grab my wedge and I line it, I press it down like this. So this will help the image, your vinyl, stick to your transfer tape, because that's what we want to do next is pull the vinyl onto the transfer tape. Now, if you need to, you can do it backwards. So where you're pulling the backing off of the vinyl, that's usually how I do it. You just get a corner started. I use my wedge and I hold a corner of it down with my wedge and I pull back like this, walking the tape, the transfer paper off of my vinyl. And so everything comes off like that. Now, if I were using a wine glass, I might take my transfer tape and cut it so that it would go around the edge of a wine glass. But my tumbler is pretty straight on the edges, so I don't need to do that for this tumbler. Now, you want to find the middle of your image, so you can just fold. Actually, it doesn't really matter because it's on a tumbler. But if you were doing it on something that the middle was important, you could just find your middle by folding and tucking your transfer tape in with a little crease there, and you know where the image is. Another great thing is you can line the bottom of your transfer tape with, say, the bottom of your tumbler, or a line on your tumbler. So this tumbler has this little line here, so I could put my transfer tape on there, and I'm going up about an inch on my design. So I put it on with the taco technique. I've got my 2 face cloths, so my tumbler's in place. It's not going to wiggle on me. I'm holding the edges of the vinyl up like a taco, and I'm going to put my hand in, my finger in, and just kind of push down the center, make sure I've got it started, and then I'll push down on one side and hold up the other side until I'm ready to put that side down. So I want to make sure that I'm getting it down with no bubbles if possible, or few bubbles if at all. And you can always go back in and rub it down a little bit. If you have a bubble, you can use, some people will use a heat gun and heat it up. If they get a bubble, heat the vinyl up and sort of push the vinyl around a little bit. I think it's easier to go slowly, take your time, and work down each letter as you go. And as you're trying to get the hang of it, if you have a third hand handy, they can hold this up for you as you push it down and work it down. Kids love to do that. I can't tell you how many times I've incorporated my kids into my projects. All right, so once you have it sized where you want it, once you have it down and you know that that's where you want it to go, you want to go ahead and massage it all down, work it all down. Now your transfer tape may bubble, and that's okay. We just want to keep our vinyl from bubbling. And if it does, you can always fix it. No panic. And if you even had to, you could like take off one section and just recut that section and put it back down again. As you're learning, I've done that before as I've learned through a process. I've had to take up, like let's say I messed up the O, you could just take the O out, recut the O, and then put the O back in. Oops, I lost my bloom. See, shouldn't have talked about it. So, okay, good thing. I'm gonna line up, I can see my L on my transfer tape here, so I'm gonna line that back up, and I'm gonna press my bloom down on. There we go. Got him lined up just where he needed to be. All right, and there is your mug. You guys should have all created a project. So we can go off of that unless there are more questions specifically about cutting.
Kesley, I think you did an amazing job. I was watching everybody's faces, and Lindsay and I were answering as many questions as we could. Thank you so much for teaching us today, all the tips and tricks in Design Space, all the information we needed to cut and make a beautiful tumbler. This was an excellent class. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.